What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm BDLM, coming with my buddy J4Y, bringing you episode number 69 of our DoD podcast. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? 69! We made it to the magic number, the number everyone looks to get to in life. That's a lot of eyebrow raising coming from BDLM, so...
My eyebrow muscles are so tired now, you don't even know.
I have never raised them so much in my life as I have tonight. And if some innuendos slip in, our apologies, but, I mean, you know...
It's in the spirit of the season, really.
It is the season to make innuendos.
To be giving and...
and receiving! You both give and receive. That's true. That's a very valid point. Oh boy, we're a little dirty.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, then bless your innocent hearts, because good for you.
I'm glad you're that innocent. Kid. Yes, please do. Anywho, great.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing well. I feel like I'm always giving a weather report. I don't know why, but it's been snowing here recently, last couple days. So I've actually been able to work from home, and it's been wonderful. But now I've been it's almost felt like a 4-day weekend. So tomorrow, when I actually have to go back, it's going to be very trudging and annoying, and not looking forward to that.
Yeah, you know, we're getting close to the point where DoD can be our full-time income. We basically just need the income to grow by about infinity. If it's an undefined number more than it is now, then
I think we calculated it. It was like a whole year we earned 18 cents or something. It was roughly that. Then again, we haven't monetized YouTube, because if we did, each one would be roughly 3 cents an episode, and we'd rather just keep you guys commercial free for the few that fortunately stop by. But hey, if you want to watch more often, we wouldn't complain. Just putting it out there. But we also have to entice you guys, so we gotta work on the visual aids again. Oh,
don't worry, I got one tonight. As some of you may have known from listening to these episodes, BDLM is an art major. He studied the arts, various ones, several arts, in college. And so I put some of those to good use tonight. It's going to be a fun episode where we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. We're going to be talking about Frostivus, which, yay, now we have something else to yell about. That's not Dire Tide. We're going to be talking about the EMS One Finals very broadly, and then just some random stuff to go into the pub scene, if you will. And then, of course, if you guys tuned in last week, we had a little thing where you guys got to participate and vote to pick a hero for J4Y to play for 25 games. So we're going to be looking over that. But first of all, we got to give out the shout-outs, because everybody out there, we always love you guys, but you guys were very nice to us this week.
Yeah, so we gotta reiterate that love for all of you. So just to start out, thanks to Joe Stivrins, and I pronounced his last name right this time around. I made sure of it. And he gave us a nice little comment on the YouTube last week and let us know. We discussed Crystal Main builds, and we talked about how E-Blade could be totally useful when you blink on E-Blade ulti, destroy people's faces. Well, he gave me a link. He said, please don't let other people know about my build. Apparently, he loves to go Aghanim's E-Blade on his Crystal Main. So, he was next level. He was already there. We're catching up. We're trying to play catch up here. You might want to consider adding Puppy on Steam. I don't know how you're going to work that out. And then just letting him know about these strats, because I'm sure he'd love to hear anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, they've said themselves, some of these professionals, that they haven't gotten to practice much. So you might just need to help them catch back up to what's going on in the rest of the world, not at these LAN finals. Because it was a lot of fun scrolling through and seeing what you're doing with that hero. Of course, we always love to hear what you guys are getting yourselves into in those pub games, and hopefully we'll have more stuff in the future of being able to show you some fantastical trolling.
I do have to admit, though, I'm sad he had Tranquil Boots on his games. I'm looking for some Phase Boots on Crystal Main, but, I mean, you gotta work with what you get, I suppose.
He did go some bots one game, too. You got a bot in Shadowblade, because that was another favorite from the list, and then you just, surprise, Aghanims. Make it rain.
Make it rain on them hoes.
Yes.
From different area codes. Mobius. It's been a while since we've heard of him, but apparently he sends an inbox and he's saying he's trying to avoid the Google Plus thing, and apparently they are taking over. I was just complaining to BDLM earlier pretty much this whole week about how I just hate navigating on YouTube because Google Plus has invaded so much that, like, to get around it, I basically have to, like, click 30 different ways to get to my frickin' inbox to see if I get a message. And it's a little aggravating. So I don't blame him for not really leaving comments as much as he used to. But he left us a nice lengthy, it was very kind, very sweet. And, of course, he left a vote for me. And also, he included some Christmas jokes that, if you guys can recall, and how could you forget my classics, right? Because they were classic, let's be honest.
Clearly they were inspirational.
That's something I did not expect, I'll have to admit it. But they were, not the Easter ones as much. But anyways, he left us some, and what we're going to do is give him credit and use them in our Christmas episode. So you guys get to look forward. Oh, don't worry, they're back. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting time. So you'll have your eggnog, your cookies, and you'll get to listen to some classics later for that.
Of course, if anybody would like to add to this, you're welcome to.
Oh, feel free. But they have to meet our standards. Let's just say we take it very seriously.
Set the bar high. If you wouldn't say it on stage at a comedy factory, leave it at home.
Seriously.
Because yeah, we gotta get to the good stuff.
And then Tobias Lindstrom, thank you for posting and letting me know that I messed up on iTunes and didn't put a date in there. So if you guys are having trouble locating it on iTunes this week, it was at the bottom because I didn't put a date in correctly. Apparently I wrote like November of 2013 or something, and that is not a correct date according to iTunes, which I don't understand. But I did fix it, so it should be right now. But thanks anyone that if you ever have any issues, please feel free to post it so we can quickly address it, because obviously we're not going on iTunes downloading our own episodes. As much as I do like to look in mirrors and like just stare at myself for about 10 minutes, iTunes I don't really need to do that as much.
Yeah, I mean, we do get to hear our own voice everywhere as it is, so it's
wonderful. That's why I talk on the phone at work very often. I try my best.
Go and just monologues, talk to myself out loud just to hear the gossip tones.
And when people ask, you're like, I'm just practicing for a promotion speech, just practicing. Sam Devis, thanks for the Twitter follow. We don't get many, so I you know what? I want to give props to anyone who ever follows us or does anything on Twitter because we're so barely in the scene. Speaking of which, do you have anything you want to add to that about Twitter? About how you don't like...
Yeah, you guys are welcome to follow me. I feel very sad. It's very lonely on my Twitter page. There are as many tweets as there are more tweets than people at this point, and that just feels wrong. That feels wrong. I will say, and I'm rushing to remember who it was that actually gave me a build to try with the Venomancer, which I did, and I even that day I posted back a picture of the stat screen. So don't worry, you'll
just to say, if you give him a follow, you'll receive. That's all I gotta say about that.
I don't know how I feel about living up to that.
Well, you're gonna have to now because I just threw it out there. And I think it was Riley Brando who gave you the build. But yeah, I know that was random, but I know all 10 of our Twitter followers, trust me. So we have personal relationships. And on the final note of shoutouts, I want to shout out to the few people on Steam who added me after I said it'd be cool if you guys want to get games in. We haven't gotten to play any yet, unfortunately. But the fact is, as soon as you add us up, we'll be able to eventually match up here and get some games in. And we'll we will not by any means rage or do anything silly. We may not be your best allies that you've ever played with, but we'll do our best to help you out in a victory. And as far as having issues adding BDLM, he on Steam is actually Bedlam, Bedlam.
I spend most of my time tagged as Sheever Gaming, actually. And
well, that's funny because I'm Den-D, but yet people for some reason keep thinking I'm like someone else. I don't know why, but it's an issue I have very often.
You have somebody impersonating you, I guess.
Did you hear Sheever did a voiceover for Starladder for a commercial ad for it? Did you hear?
Very cool. I did not.
Yeah, she was selling some. It was ridiculous. It sounded so awkward because I'm personally not the biggest fan of her voice. I'm sorry. She's a great person. I'm glad. No, I'm very proud of what she's accomplished and what she's doing for the scene. No, because she's been on our podcast, so I love her. I'm so appreciative of her. I really do. Sheever's great. There'll always be a special place in my heart for her. But I didn't know how I felt about that? Because you're normally used to this like action-packed guy, like, get the latest stuff at this website, and you can go and watch the action-packed Counter-Strike, and and then you hear Shiva's voice, you're like, oh, well, yeah, I guess I'll check it out. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, that was a little off topic. So, like you were saying, we're gonna start with a nice stiff, rigid regimen, and then we're gonna go into more of a loose kind of.
It'll soften up.
It'll soften up by towards the end.
Yeah.
And then everyone will be hopefully satisfied.
Well, at least one of us will be.
One side of it will be. I don't know about the other side. We'll get that opinion later, I guess. But oh god, it's already begun. So.
And, yeah. So Frostivus, Jay, it's coming.
I called it Frostivus. I shouldn't do that.
Frostivus. It's close. That was close.
It really is. It's a letter off. Yeah. Well, is it coming, BDLM?
Oh.
Is it?
Oh. The drama unfolds. Skeleton King is apparently a jerk and likes to mess with the shenanigans going on. But no, from what it looks like, Frostivus will be coming, and it's kind of cool that you have something where they're trying to work some lore and they're trying to make it something maybe a little bit more than Dire Tide, obviously because they realize that they made the mistake of angering people to the extent of yelling at a car company. With Dire Tide. So it's nice to see that they're like trying to get really into this Frostivus thing, and I'm really curious to see how the rest of it unfolds. So yeah, what do you think of it so far? I mean, are you excited for it? Do you think you're gonna play some? Because I know like neither of us really played much Dire Tide this past year.
We didn't, and I mean I didn't play much Dire Tide even the first time around because I'm so like into the normal game mode that it just seemed a little silly. I liked playing it like once or twice just to get a feel for it, but it wasn't something I wanted to keep doing over and over. So I'm definitely interested to see what direction they take it, and I really like I actually really like how they're pretty much trolling the community with this whole cancellation thing, especially after how everything exploded, like you said, with the Dire Tide. So, but the fact is they're taking ownership of this one, and it says, by decree of the only king that matters, which is just wonderful. Like you said, Skeleton King, a little bit of an ego. But I definitely, I'm not sure what it's going to actually be. And that's what's kind of curious about it. Now, where did the Greevils all come in? Can you refresh my memory on that?
Oh, Greevils are just everywhere, Jay. They're just the holiday mascot, apparently. They're in on it all.
Mm-hmm. It's like Santa's elves.
You could turn into the Greevils last year and run around, and they had abilities based on what you had socketed.
I didn't do that either. Is that bad?
Yeah, you.
I'm not just in the spirit. I'm like Scrooge over here. If you don't give me what I want, I'm not going to be a happy person. And I guess, I guess I'm going to really need to try this one, at least for the sake of our podcast, if nothing else, just to give it a go, I suppose.
100 games of Frostivus. Let's do it, Jay.
Jeez.
I'm kidding.
God.
I don't want to do that.
No, don't ever.
That. No one can make me.
Say that.
Can't make me. So.
But hopefully it comes through, I would assume in the next week or two. I would assume it gets released before Christmas. I'll put it that way.
It's got to be soon. Yeah. So we'll see what comes up out of it. I mean, like you said, I'll probably try a couple of games of it, see what it feels like, but we'll have to see.
Right.
Moving on to maybe the more competitive aspect of Dota 2. Mm-hmm. Not that Frostivus isn't competitive.
We don't know yet.
Talk a little bit about the EMS One Finals, which just recently took place, actually.
Yep.
This past weekend. So we have in the finals Fnatic Gaming, apparently just on a tear for getting into the finals of LAN tournaments, and BC Gaming. There's going to be a spoiler alert to come, so I'll just let you know ahead of time. It goes to 4 games. Vici take it. I'm like so sad that Fnatic keep just regularly getting to the ends of these LAN tournaments and then just falling through at the end. And of course, this is the last big LAN tournament for the year, and they weren't able to pull out a win.
Yeah, I know. We were rooting for them. I'm sure actually a lot of people were rooting for him. I mean, they got the European, kind of crowd. There's generally going to be a lot more people participating on that front. But and they're just so excited too. Like they did the once again. It seems like it's starting to catch on, this team voice thing, to really get kind of that snapshot of what's going on. And oh my gosh, if you haven't heard the clip where No Tail just flips out and wants, apparently it sounds like a serial killer, like he's just talking about murdering everybody. You need to listen to it. It's definitely one of the series, and I can't remember which game. It was like game 2 or something, but it was something else.
Don't pick Dragon Knight. No Tail does not like Dragon Knight. That's what I've learned.
He does like Enchantress, though.
Oh, yeah. And that's definitely something I want to talk about when we get into the games. But I just want to say, too, like, I give them a lot of props. Because obviously you have, like, your Na'Vi, your Alliance that are just, like, going to be strong through and through. They're going to wind up somewhere near the top for especially these LAN tournaments because now both of those teams have a bunch of experience. They're obviously very skilled. And not to say that Fnatic isn't, but they've just, like, not only been playing really well for themselves, but just all of the flying around, because there have been a lot of LAN tournaments specifically lately, so it's not even just about being on top of your game, but having to actually physically go to these different settings and play in different conditions. That's obviously going to wear on you, and, I give these guys a lot of credit. They certainly deserved a victory from some of the games that they put out. But if they get to start again next year, I guess start fresh.
What are you thinking about Alliance's troubles recently? They keep getting sort of near the end of like they get into the semifinals, but they haven't been as dominating as they were, obviously, for the TI3 stretch. So, do you think something is going on behind the scenes? What do you think they're not adapting to kind of the new meta that's forming? What do you think's going on here?
I think it's mostly just the fact that there have been so many tournaments of late. We've really gotten a treat just having a lot of big LAN tournaments coming up, like MLG having just finished up. We were talking about that not too long ago, and that was something to come out of some of the interviews that we were talking about last week, and the one interview with Kuroki that we talked about last week, and just we haven't practiced really at all in the new patch because we've just had to play, like we've had to compete, and obviously you're getting practice by playing other top teams, but you're not getting to like try out the new strategies. You're not really trying to mess around, because that was another thing in just talking about Kuroki is he was like, yeah, I don't know about the Midas. I still haven't really come to a decision on it. If you're not playing these practice games, you're obviously not going to try something that you feel uncomfortable about when you're trying to take a top position at some of these tournaments. Maybe you have the room to in the group stages, but obviously once you get into the brackets, you're not going to be able to sort of mess around like that. So I think it's probably just teams getting worn down by all the traveling and not having the time to just sort of like chill out and regroup, and I'm sure they'll be fine.
They didn't even have in the group stages here. Only the top 2 advanced to the playoffs, so it wasn't even like TI3 where all the teams participated anyways. So they really had no room in this tournament to do anything out of the box. You had 3 games in your group stage, and you had to win probably 2 of them to advance. So
probably,
and you played each team once. So it could be gimmicky, it could be not, but either way, you've got to pull off a win. And so and like you said, Fnatic toppling Na'Vi. They're starting. Fnatic, they've never been a bad team by any means, but just recently, like you said, they've had a surge of performance, a really great showing, and I've really loved to see how both like Fly and different people have taken on these roles and really seem to have mastered something that they once were shaky with, and it's really been great to see them. Vici Gaming too, may I add, have really come out of the woodwork. I've always known them to be a pretty strong team, but this tournament, the performance in general was just powerful. Their team fight and everything was really great to watch.
Yeah, I know they've been really celebrated in the East, and I haven't gotten to watch as many games of theirs as I'd like, but they're definitely one of the top teams when you look to the Eastern region. And that was one thing that I really enjoyed about this game, and listening to some of the casters talk about them, because again, like I said, I haven't gotten to watch as much Vici Gaming as I'd like. But they were described as really this team that likes to run these durable carries or semi carries that can really just sort of outlast the other team, and that being sort of their like niche strat, which I thought was kind of cool, because you're in this final against a team that sort of has what is now a niche strat and running the IO that's really sort of fallen off for a lot of other teams. It's still prevalent, and of course they like to run it with their Chaos Knight, with their Tiny, and they do a pretty good job of it. Unfortunately, the one of the games they try to run it in the finals, they're not actually able to pull out a victory, but I thought it was just really neat getting to see them play with these really durable heroes. And of course, the 2 games I really wanted to look at from these finals were the ones where Bristleback gets picked up, because Apparently, that's a hero that VC like to run, but that's a hero that other teams really don't like to mess with. So I think it's really cool that we have these two teams that get to the finals of a LAN tournament with these strategies that they own, and that other teams don't want to mess with. I think it really sort of attests to, obviously there are going to be heroes that are going to be the strongest heroes in the patch, but the fact that these teams can sort of move away from a set number of heroes to pick from and sort of pick their own niche strategies to sort of run their team around, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, but they've got to have multiple things they have to be able to adjust, because if you're like really dependent on those niche strategies, obviously very easy for the other team to avoid, like ban Bristle, easy. Like that stroll strategy of the like let's focus on having Bristle be durable and then soak up all the damage for everyone else. That strategy gets changed immediately. There's no one like Bristle that absorbs damage. He is the king of it. So, you'd really have to kind of mess around. So, and like I said, obviously Vici, they're very skilled and they're able to have. That's not like all they could depend on. But it's definitely something that if you're able to get it, they pick up. Just like Hani with his Invoker. If it's available, he's probably going to go for it, and it's his strongest hero. A lot of people say the best, if not one of the best Invokers in the world right now is Hani. So, that's something to really give credit for, especially compared to the other solo mids in the world. That's a big, tall order to fill right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's another great example of just like that. Like, Invoker is a Fnatic hero. Like, you're going to see that team probably run the Invoker more than other teams at a competitive level. And, just from, like, I'm kind of glad that the series worked out the way it did, because I was really expecting, Bristle's in 2 of these games. Well, that's kind of crazy. They must have done, like, something really crazy with him. Like, I figured Bristle goes off on a tear, he does this crazy stuff, and it's like there's absolutely nothing Fnatic can do about him. And oh my god, is Bristle here? Is he going to be like a big hero in the mid? And he just sort of like is in game 1 and game 3, and he just sort of does his Bristle thing. It's like fine and all. It's not like the super craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. It didn't like blow my mind, but it was strong and it worked well for them. And particularly what I thought was really neat about the strategy of running the Bristle was they paired it with the Storm Spirit, and Super Storm Spirit was pretty excellent. I enjoyed it greatly, and it was really nice to see those two heroes together, because you sort of can't ignore either of them, because obviously the Goo's going to be stacking if you try to ignore the Bristle, and the Quills are going to be stacking up, but Storm Spirit does a lot of damage if you just let them sit. So it was really neat to see these two heroes on the same lineup and just how much one sort of allowed the other to do.
And the thing with Bristle, he's like a Spectre in the sense that you want to get him out of the fight as quick as possible, because actually, in fact, I'm going to change that. He's more threatening than Spectre. Spectre, if he builds all tank, you can ignore him because he's not going to be doing a lot of damage. Whereas Bristle, if you ignore him, the Quill Spray stacks throughout the whole fight, and you're taking tons of AoE damage, and he can spam that all day. And like you said, the Goo for slow and minus armor, and the Warpath, he's giving himself tons of damage stacking up there, and he's hitting like a truck. And if he doesn't even build any damage items, he's hitting hard. It's really something that impresses me. When you run a hero like that, you think, oh, well, you can't run him as like a safe lane carry and just farm all game because you're not going to win late. That's not necessarily true. He gets so much damage. There's only a couple carries I'd say really easily topple him, like Anti-Mage. There's a couple of them that really will dominate him late game. But besides from that, he's going to hold his ground very easily. And he's not only going to do well in one-on-one damage, but he's going to be doing, like I said, AoE damage while tanking up tons of damage. A big sponge. So I like him even better than the Spectre. The only thing that's one of his main weaknesses is the fact that if you are lane against him, you just go Magic Wand, and you're going to have tons of health and mana to work with the entire lane phase.
Well, that was something I thought was really interesting about how Vici decided to run the Bristle, was they never really got any mana items on him. There was no like Ring of Basilius, and I kind of really like the Vlads on him. I think it makes a good amount of sense. But really, they just sort of let him get tanky and get the Heaven's Halberd, or get other defensive items, get an Assault Curious or something like that. Didn't really worry about the mana pool at all. There were no drums. There was nothing like that. So he really just sort of did the bare minimum casting, and just sort of unloaded the spells when he had to in the team fights. I thought it was really neat to see him get the Heaven's Halberd in both cases, just because it is a strong item to get. And obviously you're going to be dodging, and then when you're not dodging, you were soaking up the damage with Bristle back. So it was really nice to see how he was able to do. And again, he didn't like run away with the game, so it was like, oh yeah, this works pretty well. It's not like crazy strong, but it fits what Vici wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Go
ahead.
Good. I was just going to say also, this is a hero that we didn't really talk about with 6.79, but he actually did get some buffs. He has an increase to the stacks on Warpath. The stack duration was increased. The cast point was improved on Nasal Goo by 0.1 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is when you're this hero that's trying to chase people down. And you're welcome to take that wherever you want to go, because I know you had something to say before I...
No, you're right. These buffs were kind of not really snuck in, but the fact is they were overlooked, I think, by a lot of people, at least. Maybe not by the pro players themselves, but especially from people like you and I who were looking more at the heroes that were dominating on the scene. Like we were looking at like the Bat Rider and the different heroes. They're like, oh wow, look at that. And meanwhile, he gets this kind of like minor buff here, but yet it really does make a difference. Like you said, the attack point and cast time, definitely huge things for him. Stacking more stacks for Warpath is just beautiful, and the 4 extra seconds of duration, really huge things for him to continually pump out the damage and chase people down. So yeah, really a great hero. I got to play him once recently. I know it's a little off topic, but I just have to say, I think I ended like 17-2 or something. It was one of the most pub stompy experiences I've had in a long time, and that's just the way the hero is. And if the team doesn't take the appropriate measures to fight you, you're going to wipe their team, because they have to do it in a certain way or it's going to be over.
Well, that's a beautiful segue, because actually in the game 1, it was something I thought was really interesting. Fnatic gets second pick, and they immediately go for an Elder Titan and Visage, which I think is just strong in general. Fine, whatever. But when you look at how the rest of BC Gaming's lineup sort of put themselves together, they wound up also getting the Alchemist. You have these 2 tanky heroes, and Fnatic are just able to be like, to shrug it off, basically, because of what the Ancestral Spirit is able to do, and stripping away the defenses with Natural Order. I mean, between that and some supercharged up soul assumptions coming out of the Visage, they were actually able to tear down these tanky heroes, and I think that was really a big part of what helped Fnatic be successful in that first game. They sort of, had these durable carries to deal with, but they were able to put out the damage to deal with them.
Plus Lifestealer, who's like Mr. Anti-Beef, like he'll tear through high health heroes and no problem at all with the life stealing off them. But yeah, they really did have a great answer. And Visage is just one of those supports you cannot leave alone, because like you were saying, the soul assumptions really stack up over time. It's such a short cooldown, tons of damage flying around in these fights, plus the stuns and extra damage from his ulti. I mean, he's really something to contend with, and I mean, there's a reason he's picked up in pretty much every game still. It's just because of how strong he is.
Yeah, and there were to sort of, I guess, talk about other heroes that are sort of like, I guess, sitting on the outskirts, I guess, maybe a little bit more, is the Enchantress, and how No-Tail was able to play her in this game was really nice. And it sort of opened my eyes to something, because, I'll mess with the Enchantress from time to time, and I'll normally put a bunch of points into the enchant, because, it improves the slow. Why not? Obviously, you're Enchantress, you should probably max enchant. I mean, that's Ice Frog telling you what to do.
Right.
I mean, whatever. But No-Tail actually just winds up putting 1 point into enchant.
Yep.
Maxes Nature's Attendance after that, and then also puts points into Untouchable.
And starts maxing it.
Yeah, and starts maxing it over the enchant. Which, I mean, how did you like that, Jay? What were your thoughts?
My thoughts? Initially, my initial thoughts in that game was like, I don't like Enchantress over Chen in this lineup. I don't like it at all. Like, Enchantress is against tanky, like you said, durable carries that are either going to be able to escape from her easily, like Clinks, or they're going to be able to soak up the damage that she's trying to do with her impetus, and she's going to die by, burst damage or something before she can even get any kills off. And then I got to see it in action, and I also got to see, like you said, the maxing of Untouchable after enchant, which is very not normal, obviously, but yet made perfect sense in this scenario. You know, when you're against 4 auto attackers, the Bristle, Storm, Alchemist, and Clinks. Untouchable makes a world of a difference if she gets focused. And normally, she might get picked off early in fights because, you know, the Nature's Attendant's going to heal you up. And she does do quite a bit of damage from the back if she's left alone. So really putting that on there. And he also built Mech very early. Adding that on top of it really allowed for him to be so durable and also be like kind of a centrifuge for his team to really bind everything together. It was really something else. And No Tail plays a very mean Enchantress, may I say.
Yeah, he did a really great job, and I definitely enjoyed seeing it. And it definitely sort of, you know, it was nice to see just because it, like I said, made me think about how I play Enchantress and how I just sort of automatically will want to level up that enchant for, like you said, the lower cooldown and for the increased slow percentage. But, you know, like you had also mentioned, we're dealing with a life stealer too, so you have the open wounds. Do you really need another super slow? Not really. So why not go for something like the Nature's Attendants and the Untouchable, which, like you said, you're against 4 auto attackers. Why would you not want that? So that was really cool. And then the other thing that I think... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, the King of Meepo, it's no surprise he can play Enchantress or other micro heroes decently well.
Maybe a less trolly.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he'll make a comeback. I mean, Meepo was nerfed/buffed, so I'd probably nerfed, but...
Who knows, really?
No one knows because no one plays him, so it's fine.
Yeah. But there were some other cool things that Fnatic did to sort of try and deal with the Vici lineup. Because, like you said, they sort of picked these 4 auto attackers, 4 heroes that have the potential to be cores. And you wind up getting a Lifestealer that goes Lincoln Sphere, and an Invoker that goes Scotty.
Yep.
Thoughts, sir?
Scotty was brilliant. I've seen it one other game, and it was an Invoker. I can't remember the game, unfortunately, but he was so farmed. It was like his last item. He was so balled out, and that was all he could really do. But, you know, when you're, like I said, against 4 auto attackers, getting that extra 30% slow or whatever it is onto them, you know, really stacks up and really assists in them not being able to pump out the damage that they would expect to do. The Lincolns on Lifestealer, I think we both had like the same thought, the same exact time when we saw it. Because, you know, when you see Lifestealer, you don't think of him getting like BKB or anything like that because he's already got built-in magic immunity. However, when he gets jumped, you need that protection, and you know you can only depend on your reaction time so much. I mean, there's some players that will always, like probably S4, he'll always get that phase shift off on Puck. I mean, that's just some players who can do that. But, you know, if you're not necessarily that comfortable with it, Storm Spirit maybe comes in, just sheeps you right away, you have no time, and you're dead by the time that CC's over. So having that Lincolns initially really allows you to have the time to pop your rage if you need to.
Yes. This may be terrible to bring up because I'm having trouble remembering the specifics. But there was a time in Game 3, I believe it was, where Luna like drops the ultimate on an illusion, and Fnatic lose the team fight around Roshan, probably in part to the fact that they wasted a level 16 Luna ult. Like, these really small things, and it was something that even the casters talked about was, you know, Fnatic and what you had mentioned earlier in that sort of instance where No Tail's like, kill Dragonite, kill Dragonite, kill Dragonite, and they're just like, go, 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 just, this is our opportunity. Unfortunately, they misplay it. Like, in such a small window of time, they made that one mistake and could have cost them the game, and who knows, maybe the whole tournament. Like you were saying, it makes complete sense if you're like, I could potentially get jumped, I could one time not hit rage quickly enough, I could one time get caught off guard, I should just get this item. And, you know, it's like, it's whatever. You're going to be able to do fine damage. You're a life stealer against high health heroes, so you're going to be doing a decent amount of damage with your feast anyway. So, you know what? Get it. Just the extra protection. And if he's got the presence of mind, he can cast it on somebody else now. So it's, now that it's even more of a fantastic item to pick up, like, even though it's like a carry you might not necessarily want to, if you can add some nuance to it and help save your other super important heroes like Hani's Invoker, who has that Scotty to try and slow down the attack speed of some of these carries. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with it. I thought it was pretty sweet.
Oh, no, it definitely was. And you were giving me flashbacks right there about not reacting in time. If you remember DK, God, I don't remember who they were playing, but he was playing a gyrocopter recently, and they were against an OD. Boy, I wish I could remember this to make the story a lot better. But the point is, they kept getting jumped over and over, and it was just a 4-staff in by OD with a sheep stick. And if he was able to pop his blocking bar as he saw him coming in time, it would have definitely turned the tide of the whole fight. But because he was shept, that's a new word, but we're learning here. If he was sheeped, if he wasn't sheeped, he'd be able to obviously BKB, flat can, and turn the fight around. But instead, he died within that span. And so it really is the difference in being able to react and not that can cost you the whole team fight and possibly the whole game. So, and now that, like we said, that now that Lincoln's has been buffed and that you can transfer it, it's just that much better. It doesn't even have to be for you. It can be for someone else that's getting initiated on. So it's just that much better.
Yeah, and I like to, in just talking about the Scotty a little bit more, not only in the slowing attack speed, but I think it was just a nice pickup in general for the Invoker, just so he has a higher mana pool. He has some higher health. I mean, like you said, it's not something that we see often, and maybe only a handful of other times.
Speed gaming versus DK. Sorry, I remembered. That was.
Thank you.
You remember MLG Columbus? Yeah, that was what I was referencing. Go ahead.
Alrighty. What happened? I feel like a flashbang just went off. I don't know. I don't remember. Scotty. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I think that's just one of those items, almost sort of like Lincoln Sphere. Like, you're getting all these general stats, but obviously you're getting the effect on top of that, and the effect was just so good for that situation that it's like it was great to see, and then obviously just great overall for the hero.
Yes, I agree completely. So they did end up winning. They won one game, and I think, did we say the score? It was 3-1. Vici did end up taking it. So Fnatic won the first game, and then the next 3 they just fell. And you have to remember, when you're at these LAN events, like, it's easy for us to watch the VODs separately and everything. Like, here's a 45-minute game, here's a 30-minute, here's an hour game. They play back to back to back to back to back. So this is wearing down them. And momentum, I feel like, is a huge thing in this. If you come off a loss and you come off another loss, you're in a bad thing. Your morale's going down. You're starting to bicker with each other, I'm sure. There's a lot of factors that are really coming into this. So just like any sports team, really, in anything, if you're down in the fourth quarter in football by 20 points, you're not too happy. I mean, you got to act professional, but these things really do put I feel like, a problem for some of these teams.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just, I think, on top of what I was talking about earlier, and just having to do all of these LAN tournaments. Like, it's great for, especially the team for, like, Fnatic, who has just now been in these LAN tournaments for a while now, recently, right. Just at least soaking up that experience that they might not have had otherwise. It's, like, nice that they got to do it. Of course, obviously, it's going to take its toll, but it was just great to see. I mean, to be honest, there were some great plays. There were a couple miscues. But overall, the fact that these teams are playing other tournaments, going halfway across the world to try and play this game of Dota for, like you're saying, hours on end, like, it's really just amazing that these people are able to have the mental presence of mind to be able to do this again and again and again, despite that.
And they say, I remember, like, some people, like Kavorce and other ones say, like, yeah, I'm running on, like, 3 hours of sleep. And it's like, geez, like, how are you even, like, functioning right now? It's still,
like, the jet lag and... I
know, on top of everything else. And then and now you're supposed to have lightning reflexes when you get ganked or something. Like, yeah, you can see where there's some little lag. Despite there being no lag in the game, because it's a LAN, there's lag mentally. And you gotta be able to, compensate for that, I guess.
Can't /ping the brain to see what's going on, unfortunately.
Yes.
But I have a problem, Jay.
Uh-oh.
I have an issue. I'm just jelly. I'm super jelly because I keep seeing these pro players that will wind up going in other lanes other than the mid, and they pick up a bottle.
Uh-oh.
And it's glorious. It's glorious. And it's something I feel like I've seen more and more in recent past, and I wanted to talk about it because you really don't see that at all, I feel like, when you get down to, us mere mortals,
right,
that play Dota for fun. And I kind of just wanted to talk about it because I've had some situations with people who shall go nameless, playing Doom in the jungle, and it doesn't matter how often I say it, like, oh, hey, you should get a bottle. It'll be great. We have wards on the the rune spots. You can help sort of get the runes. You can use the runes. That would be fantastic. Or you can just use the bottle and not get the runes, and it's still great to have. Seen it on Doom in the jungle. Seen it in IOs. I believe actually the IO in this series picked it up. You're welcome to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
In the tri-lane scenario. And you have all flaners picking it up. So I kind of just wanted to have a really open chat with you about some heroes that you like, getting the bottle on, and your thoughts about bottle in general, and even if you think that it requires the rune control to make effective.
So bottle IO, may I just say, is beautiful. With that tether, you're basically drinking for two, if you will. It's it really is a nice thing.
I've done that before, and it is not pretty.
You've done that way too much. It's a good thing you're not working there anymore. But anyways, yeah, sorry, getting a little too personal. So, I do honestly, I personally love it. I'm probably one of the few of our friends that will actually buy it on that outside of middle lane territory, and it's not for everyone. It's not for every situation. So it's one of those items that you really need to decide. Like middle heroes, 90% of the time you will want it on that hero, but on these other situations, it really matters to what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. Now, if you're let's say you're a jungler, you're Doom, and your team doesn't need you. Like, let's say your lanes are so strong somehow, and he's allowed to just sit there. Maybe he doesn't need to rush your bottle. Maybe he goes hand to Midas, he goes whatever. But that's 99% of the time not true. We always struggle. So, bottle, what it lets you do is be more of a reckoning force and give you way more laning presence than you ever had without it. Examples of heroes that I really like to see it on, for offlane, particularly Clockwork, it's beautiful. Beastmaster, it's beautiful. Windrunner, also amazing. Elder Titan, see that a lot in pro games as well. Tusk, now, we'll start getting into that later, but Tusk perhaps. As far as jungle heroes, Doom, you've mentioned it. I also think Enigma really does well with a bottle, if you need him to. That one is iffy. You don't really need it, but it can provide that much more. Like I said, that's more like a ganking / moving around Enigma. A bottle really is strong there, so he can keep using his stuns while also summoning his minions in the jungle, and it lets him have enough mana to do kind of both of those things. But I think the off lane's really where you're going to see a lot of it come out from.
Yeah, and I think especially for the Doom, like I just really like that scenario because Doom is a hero that some people like to just disappear with, and then they come out 40 minutes and say, "Hey guys, I'm here, and I can do things now." But really, ever since the change of being able to assume creep abilities with Devour, that's not a good excuse. Doom is just this hero that now can do so much. Now, of course, you can get in the unfortunate situations where you maybe can't get the creep you want. But what I really like about the bottle is it's sort of just like Magic Stick, and where it's flash health and mana. It's if you can duck out of a fight for a second, you can drink from your bottle once or twice. Now you have an extra spell to be able to throw out. And that was sort of, I think, the thing where if you play Doom in the jungle and you don't get a bottle, and if you compare that to trying to get the bottle, now all of a sudden you can, there's this really great situation where I can run in there and I can use my Centaur Stomp, or I picked up the Troll Chieftain, so now I can use Net and I can summon creeps and push with it. Being able to just operate without that mana, without like just drinking from the bottle till it's empty, saving a swig or two in there, so that you can just sort of turn on and have this moment of being able to jump out and participate, I think is really nice. And then I think what was neat about a lot of the heroes that you mentioned, and especially for the offlane, are these heroes that benefit from being able to gank. They benefit from a lot of these rune abilities. Obviously, regen is going to be regen. Illusion is going to be useless. But, what if you get an Elder Titan with haste that's just going to be able to drop the spirit, keep the spirit on top of somebody, and then just bash their face in? Or you're able to get it on really any of these heroes that are going to be able to run into the lane, surprise somebody, and not only the gank potential of picking up runes, but just denying runes to the other mid.
Right.
If you happen to be on a team where your mid is like TA, you're maybe not going to be able to beat a Queen of Pain to the rune. If you have somebody else that's also looking for these runes, you can potentially deny this hero that extra strength.
Oh yeah, allowing the middle to have complete room control really swings that completely in their favor. So I mean, I always ask our supports if they have an option to if I'm in a hero that has trouble, please help me out here so I can get control, because getting that middle control can really set the tone for the rest of the game as well. If he gets out of control mid, he's going to come to your other lanes and he's going to just wreak havoc. So you really need to make sure everything's in check if you can. But yeah, I actually wasn't even thinking as much about that until you mentioned the Doom getting these other abilities. That makes complete sense. I mean, I already know he's a pretty mana-hungry hero. I mean, Devour, on the cheaper side, his Hellfire is going to be kind of expensive, but long cooldown, and you normally don't get level death early on, but, these abilities are usually at least 100 mana, if not more. The Stomp, the Shockwave, Mana Burn perhaps, whatever you decide to go. And like you said, if once you get these abilities and you have the mana pool to use them, then you're also going to, help your lane possibly if you can roam in. Just throwing a Shockwave and harassing or a Mana Burn really makes a huge difference in that other lane. And a lot of Dooms we see these days like to go something like a mech. And in that case, that could be trouble to use your ultimate, a level death, Hellfire, and then mech on. Like, how are you going to have the mana for all of this? Well, now you got a bottle, you can sustain yourself and really add that much more to the fight.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, I mean, you really can't afford to do all that stuff. And I think especially, too, like, Scorched Earth, it's nice when you're running around. It's like, oh, I get all this health regeneration. That's great. I can keep myself alive. But, you really have the potential to be able to cast it more often than just when you need it for health. And being able to just swig from the bottle and then be able to use that to jump into a lane, put up a little bit of AoE damage to stay on top of people and add the auto attacks. A lot of cases, that's really all you need in order to be able to seal the deal and a kill. And obviously, if you want to run around and farm the jungle, that's great. And obviously, you're getting the bonus gold from Doom. But if you're able to provide AoE gold and experience for killing a hero, that's going to be more beneficial than you just not being on the map. So maybe beating a dead horse with Doom and picking it up, but
I think you've really driven it home by now.
I've got a little. It's
a
sore spot.
Can you tell me? Is it okay though to sometimes rush the Hanamize instead?
I guess. I mean, I feel like it's really particular when you would want to do that, because again, you have really great potential. Like, I really feel like people underestimate what you can do early with a Doom and a bottle and the right creeps.
Right.
Because especially with that Troll Chieftain, you can lock somebody down even if they're a life stealer. You can use the net to stop them from running away. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. And if you're in a game where you get to be super safe, the people you're with are going to be okay, and you just look at the picks and you go, yeah, we're not really going to come under early pressure. I can just sort of vanish into the jungle. Mm-hmm. Sure, I guess why not? But I mean, even if I think you rush the Midas, you're still going to have mana problems unless you pick up some drums or you pick up a Blaz or something.
Arcane boots are actually, I've seen, kind of popular every now and then.
Yeah, arcane boots too. But I feel like you're eventually going to need a way to solve that mana problem anyhow, so why not also get something that will help you solve that problem and be more effective in the early game when you actually
Not to mention creeps hurt.
Pretty effective.
No, I mean, I know you have the Hellfire for health regen, but sometimes it's just not, especially early, it's not enough at all.
For sure.
So, I mean, that bottle is going to give you almost probably half your health with just one swig. So, and then assuming your middle isn't too heavily dependent on that courier, you can even do a little bit of courier, getting that bottle back and forth and get some use out of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to. It was weighing heavy on my heart.
Well, you got it out.
I had to. You can't let these things fester. They just
can't let them
pretty.
Bottle up.
Oh, you.
That was too easy.
Oh, you. That was...
Perhaps.
I think it's time.
I think it is. I think we've moved on to the final phase.
Oh, it's the moment we've all been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be honest. It's not that I doubted any of you out there that you would participate, put in your 2 cents, tell us what you think that Jay should have to play. But I did. I made some insurance just in case. So this is. I spent maybe more than an afternoon on this.
Oh.
And here's where you benefit from tuning into the YouTube. I'll give you a brief description. Anybody just listening to the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher. It's a very fair wheel. of Misfortune, completely fair. They're evenly distributed around it. Heroes that Jay gets to play. I don't know if you can see that. There's a Murano, there's a Vengeful Spirit, your Dazzle. There's a Tusk, and then this other little square says, spin again and land on Tusk. The other great thing about this wheel is that there isn't any weight on the back of it to make it automatically land on Tusk. So, I don't know. Let's just give it a spin.
I think we need to do it. I wish I could spin it, but I mean, obviously that's going to be a little hard for me to do here.
No. You can, because we're in the same room, Jay. And look.
Oh, there's my hand. I'm wearing a nice red shirt, by the way.
Oh, weird. How? Because it almost looked like it was going this way, and then it just. Wow, but it's fair. It's really fair. So I guess we have to live with the results.
That is brilliant. Oh my gosh. We need to make these kind of things for every decision we do.
Well, I'm just saying, this is if you guys are feeling in the giving mood because of the season or because of the number of the episode, there is that donate button on our YouTube, and I'm just saying, this is the potential production value to come out of Dodo on Demand. Okay, I'm just saying. This. So, I mean, we actually did have you guys contribute, and we thank you very much. So, I don't know, Jay, do you want to drum roll it? How did the vote turn out?
It matched your wheel, believe it or not. 100% of the votes went to Tusk. Believe it or not, folks. Tusk. Oh, I can make your thing smaller. I made it the whole screen, and I'm gonna. Sorry, you were beautiful for a while, my friend, but now you're getting back to real size. Yeah, Tusk is the winner of the contest. Believe it or not. So 25 games now are lined up for me to play. Now, I have to say, the only I don't even know how to word this. The good thing, I guess, is that it's a very versatile hero. He's got options. So there's the good thing.
Here's the other great thing too.
Great.
Much like Bristle, because I'm just weaving it all together. It's a beautiful, harmonious thing we got. Bristle came out and we're like, oh yeah, he's got some potential, and Tusk does too. We don't get to see him, and we see him less than Bristle, obviously, but he's here. We're just like, we'll have to see. But it's cool that we're actually get this hero that you don't get to see that often, even in pub play, much like the Bristle, but is probably overlooked a little bit too much, because he does have some really nice, some really unique spells that people don't get to take advantage of very often. And when we were sort of going through this and picking a hero for you, the choices for the viewers to pick, we wanted to pick heroes that had some potential to work in different lane situations and in different lane setups. Mm-hmm. And this is a hero that can do that.
Yeah, he really could technically fit any of the roles. I mean, except for probably jungle. He's probably not going to be a jungler, but you look at a middle, he could dish out enough damage and use the bottle and the runes. Bottle, I kind of threw that in earlier, but yes, bottle he will use very well, actually. Probably not hard carry, I'm going to say. Maybe not that role necessarily, but you never know. Maybe one of my 25, it's probably going to be the case, so we'll let you know. But I'd say support or off lane, he can do really well in as well, due to the fact that, like you said, he's kind of just well-rounded, all-around abilities, and the fact that he has a CC and some kind of displacement / impairment really does add a lot to his kit and to his abilities. So Ymir and me are going to go through a little walk. Now, I can't promise similar results to your Venomancer record. I do not believe in myself enough to say we're going to have above 50% here, but
that's just sad.
Well,
you can do 50%.
Well, 50. My average in all of my games is about 56% win rate. So, I guess I should do 50 roughly. But I have probably only played Tusk 2 or 3 games in my life. So, this is going to be a treat, I think.
I think so too. And you know what I also like about you playing in Tusk too is I think the snowball and the ice shards are like the spells that everybody thinks about a lot, but I actually really like the Frozen Sigil, and that's one I feel like is a spell that gets overlooked a lot because it's this thing that you can control separately from your hero that puts out a movement speed slow, which is, at rank 4 it's 25%, whatever. but an attack speed slow that goes up to 60%, which is actually pretty impressive. And now it actually has a set number of attacks it takes to kill, so it's
better,
sort of more durable in those late game situations. How do you think you're going to go about this? I mean, give us the rundown, Jay. You got 25 games. How do you think you're going to look to normally play your Tusk?
Well, I think I'm normally going to play in middle, but I'm definitely going to be trying, like we said, all the different probably positions out here. Middle, though, I'm kind of a middle player. I favor that lane anyways, and I think he's got a really nice, strong presence early game to dish out damage and be able to farm. And that would involve, obviously, going like a bottle. I think, generally, item-wise, I generally will always go for the phase boots. I like the mobility of them. I like the auto-attack damage, which obviously is going to help with your Walrus Punch late game for the crit multiplier. Drums, I love drums. I probably get it every single time on this hero if I can, just for the move speed. I mean, drums, we've talked about that item.
Music to my ears.
I know. I literally am doing it for you. No, I think the item is really, it's a wonderful item in general, and then just it synergizes with everything he's trying to do here. So I'm probably going to be building that very often. I see sometimes the Orb of Venom getting early, but I feel like that's more of a side lane and not a middle choice for many reasons. But the 12% slow can really help out in assisting for those final kills. So and of course Shadowblade Desolator for late game. Let's just say I can't get enough of Shadowblade. I really can't. You activate that Walrus Punch, go invis. That crit is going to smack someone in the face, and it's going to be pretty deadly. So, assuming they're under half health, assuming they're it's gonna just they will be faceless unless they're already faceless void, and then
they'll get a face.
They will. he will get a face created for him with the Walrus Punch. Now, I don't remember the noises, although I'm sure I'm going to hear them plenty of times. But when you don't hit a hero, but you hit a creep instead. I believe it says something of a lesser scale, like penguin peck or something. I don't know, but there's something that goes on. And believe me, by the end of this, I'm going to hear all the different sayings he's got, I'm sure, under the roof. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. Do you like my ideas of item builds?
I do. I wanna throw some crazy ones your way.
Oh boy!
And you have to do them. I'm sorry. You just gotta, because we gotta. This is an opportunity to test.
And we may take viewer builds if you submit them. I'm not 100%.
I did one.
Okay, I'll do one then.
Yeah, at Irish Ogre, he gave me a good one. I put it to use. I wonder what your thoughts are. Even in playing this hero middle, I feel like sort of the bad rap that sort of gets put in with Tusk is associated with the snowball, and just the fact that you have the potential to accidentally maybe roll the wrong people into team fights. In the spirit of rolling people into team fights, and the fact that you can be this really high aggression mobile mid hero, what are your thoughts on a mech?
Well, you know what?
Oh,
you've kind of stumped me, but I don't know. It feels like a Doom getting a mech, which isn't a bad thing. It's like you're gonna have the mana troubles if you try to get all these different things with mana costs on you. Because Ice Shard's 120, Snowball 75, Sigil 75, Walrus Punch up to 100 late game, and that's a short cooldown. All these are relatively 10-12 second cooldowns, not that, well, except for Snowball. Okay, Frozen Sigil's not either, so that was a complete fail. I don't know this hero, okay? Give me a half a break here. But
you're learning.
We're all learning together, or just me. But yeah, mech's a good item. It definitely is. And now you're kind of saying with the snowballing with everyone else, sure, let's all group up with the snowball and just pop the mech. It's a great way to go. But not bad. I feel like it would really depend on the situation of a team, though. If we're looking to maybe go for early aggression and like pushing, yeah, I'll build the mech. If we're more like we got really good late game threats and really good potential, then maybe I'll kind of avoid it, go the drum, and go into Shadowblade or something else I want instead. Force Staff also could be decent. I don't know.
Because the thing I think is really neat, and if you go into for like the bottle build and into your drums, you're gonna have a little bit of tank ability there, a little bit of mana. I feel like Tusk is a hero that works really well for when you're up against those towers too, because you have the potential to, if there isn't a lot of support there at that tower and you're able to single somebody out with ice shards and then just go rolling in, you're going to be able to connect with that hero very quickly. You're going to be able to force a fight there, and I feel like the mech is a great item for that in that situation, and if you're able to pretty quickly from your middle lane, I mean, we've talked about it before with, obviously OD and some of these other heroes that like to get it pretty early on in the middle lane. I think it's a really great way to just take a hero that's good in the team fights, especially early, and sort of carry that on and make an advantage out of it. So I'm really curious about that one. Obviously, Pipe is the other one where I'm rolling everybody through the gates of hell, so let's just try and cope with that somehow. But obviously, that's not as much fun. I think you just gotta go with the mech.
Situational is Battle Fury. Not really feeling that one. Not really feeling that one at all. The other ones I agree with, like it's Desolator, Shadowblade, Heart. Yeah, Heart, why not late game? Medallion's core, according to Valve. And honestly, I totally get that. I mean, when you're brawling someone out, reducing their armor is going to really stack up with that Walrus Punch late game as well as assist your team, the mana regen, everything. It's a great item for you. And I don't know, though. I actually don't think I've built it yet on him, but I could totally see it getting built. So definitely a strong choice.
That's an interesting way to look at it, too. Instead of being, okay, I'm a mid-hero, I get the extra gold up, or I can get an item pretty quickly, and I'm also going to get a level advantage. How can I look to use that to create an overall advantage in the game? And what if we have a lineup that has like a Nature's Prophet in it? We're able to take the tier 1 middle pretty early on. You get yourself a medallion up, get a mech on the Nature's Prophet, go into the Roche Pit. See if you can get it really early on into the game and make that advantage for your team. I think that'd be even an option for your middle Tusk, because I feel like that's an item that most people normally like, okay, we'll get it on a support because it is maybe a waste of a slot to some people if you're looking for a super late game oriented hero. But I think that's a really interesting item to try and look at to get yourself a team advantage. But like you said, you can use it on the heroes as well, so it even helps you hit harder with your Walrus Punch.
Yeah, that it definitely does. Like I said, it makes a lot of sense. But maybe if you have another support like a Visage or someone that could pick it up instead, then you can avoid it. Also, the mana regen, not really necessary if you're going to go like Bottle of Magic Wand already, plus Drum. I mean, you already have so much mana pool coming out from these 3 different things that it may be a little overkill. But I know the main reason Medallion is not for mana regen. I'm just saying it could start losing its allure after so many items you're getting. Because eventually you want to get to one of those big items. You're getting a lot of smaller to medium items, and eventually you really want like a Shadowblade Desolator kind of item where you want to be able to really show a difference in a fight.
Yeah, I do like the Shadowblade. I'm thinking crazy here. I really like this Tusk as a hero that's able to. Well, that's true. That's pretty much the standard. S&Y is probably crazy, but I like it in my brain because I like the ability to run around really quickly, and also instead of using the Orb of Venom Soul effect, you're able to get an item that is going to be able to apply a slow, make you tankier, help you move around quicker. Maybe not the go-to. Maybe you can just use the Shadow Walk from Shadowblade if you want to go for that item to give you the movement speed to get around the map. But I think especially in that middle role, like you just have a lot of potential to be able to run around and create havoc in other areas of the map. The question, I think, is if you're playing a Tusk middle, how are you able to stand up against some of the other heavy-hitting mid heroes? And I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on that once we're on the other end of these 25 games.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how it works either. I mean, he's really, really similar to a Beastmaster in the sense of his middle presence. I mean, I don't have a little board to help me out with some of the harassment, but I'm going to be able to have some kind of burst damage initiation if I get some roaming ganks, with which our friends, God knows, we'll see if that happens. But no, I'm just kidding. Our friends are fine. As friends, not as gamers. But yeah, I really sorry, that was rude. But he really does well with a roamer or some kind of gank. I mean, like I said, he has the stun initiation, the ice shards to block off their path. I mean, if you get one kind of really good CC, like a good slow stun or something, you're probably going to set yourself up for a kill on someone's vulnerable. The only people that obviously do really well against him are people with blinks. So Queen of Pain's going to have her way with me. I mean, that's just going to be how it is. OD going to have his way with me. I mean, there's going to be some heroes that are just dominating here. Viper, I mean, I'm not expecting to win those kind of matchups, but I think if I can get an early battle and just use the ice shards kind of like a Magnus wave to kind of just get a little bit of farm every now and then and maybe get to 6. 6 is where obviously the magic happens. That's where you put the baby in people. You know what I mean? Like you've really got to get to that point and get some pro punches going. And maybe an invis rune here or there, but I really think he's got great potential, and that's why I want to play him in the middle to get the levels and to get that leveled up. Now, as far as skill builds, do you like the snowball or the ice shards more for maxing?
Prioritize. I feel like the ice shards are just a great source of damage, and really you're getting the just. I guess it's a decent scaling for the damage and for the stun duration on the snowball, but I think the ice shards are pretty much how I would go, especially because you get that cooldown really low, and you're able to increase the damage by a pretty dramatic amount. I mean, it increases by 70 at each rank, and you can even use that to help you farm too, or help push if you are up against some of these middle heroes. Let's say they want to try and get the rune and go off ganking, and you're not able to beat them to it. Well, then at least you can try and clear out the creep wave middle and try to push the tower, put some pressure on it. I think I would probably wind up leveling up the ice shards. My question is what are the situations where you might want to take early points in sigil? I wonder if you would have many. Maybe if you were support tri-lane. But I mean, I feel like the snowball initiate is pretty important unless you're able to get that kind of initiation from somebody else on your team, like maybe Crystal Maiden Freeze or Rubik Telekinesis. Something like that.
I would never go Sigil 1 or 2. 3 would be the very earliest point. And because Ice Shards and Snowball, like you said, are just so not game changing, but you know what I mean. They're your setup, they're your initiation. So you need to get those early. I don't honestly. As you level it up, it's going to give you 5% more move speed slow and 10% more attack speed slow. Nothing else changes. Everything else is static. Well, I guess it also takes 1 more hero hit at ranks 3 and 4. So, okay. Yes, 1 more hero hit. I guess that helps a little bit. But still, it's not as much as important to me, I think, as it is. That's obviously really great late game. When you're playing 5-man Dota, that's where it's really helping, because you're putting out this negative aura on the enemy team. And that's really where it comes into play. When you're going for these like 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 skirmishes, it's really not making as much a difference as an extra 70 to 100 damage could possibly make in that fight. So, I may put the early point. Honestly, I probably will not get it often until like 8 or above. But maybe after I max out Ice Shards or something, I'll think about a point in it. But to be honest, it's generally not going to be worth the points over Ice Shards and Snowball. And I will always get Walrus Punch at 6. I am a huge fan of that. Well, I just have to throw it out there, as I know you don't like ultimates at 6 in general. So I might be stereotyping, but I just know your opinions on some ultimates. So
just a few. All right, here's your chance to place your orders for supports when you go carry Tusk, trailing the lane. I'm just saying, Ice Shards might help my Gale accuracy. That's not a guarantee.
I thought you were done with him for life, though.
I do like the guy. It won't be that long. I'm sure I'll play him. For any of you curious, what I played first after my 100 games of Venomancer, it was Phantom Lancer. It was no bueno, because apparently if you play support, well, not that I was even support all that time as Venomancer, because I did do off lane and solo mid. It was not pretty. It was not good. There were some people in some roles that probably should not. But anyway, I digress. Place your orders now, Jay.
Crystal Maiden.
Yeah,
I really want Crystal Maiden. I was going to say Rubik, but I've seen our friend B-Dub play Rubik, and while he's normally good, sometimes his telekinesis put him on the other side of things they shouldn't be on, so that one makes me a little nervous, but More CC is great. Obviously, the whole thing is when we're playing in this lane with supports, is that I'll be able to get the jump on the hero. So I'll be able to start in with a stun, and then I could even follow up with the shards, keep them kind of locked in place. So anyone like Lesh or Lina could work pretty easily, I feel like, because you should have enough time, hopefully, to react and get that AoE stun locked down. Lion, not bad. I mean, we don't really need slow, I feel like. I feel like a stun is probably more valuable in this case because they're trapped in. You don't really need to worry as much about slow. Especially, I feel like in side lane, if we're going to be kind of skirmishing, I'm going to go that Orb of Venom. I'm going to go it early. And then we're going to have that 12% slow to stack with everything else. So, I'm kind of liking those as far as initial ideas. Shadow Shaman is just marvelous at many things, so throw him in the mix.
True.
But
I think Venomancer is actually really sick for a combination because, like, not that
I think you're biased,
Gales.
but yes. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, it's a heavy slow. It's extra damage over time when really Tusk is a bursty hero. So I think it's a nice little marriage made in heaven. And then you get the Crystal Maiden, and then you just win forever. Because I don't think you beat that. I don't think you beat that. You could also even use a Bane Sleep to set up your ice shards. How you like that one? Just in case you're feeling a little funky on the shard
accuracy. Just in case the accuracy's a little off. It's kind of like an arrow. Mirana has support. We could just throw the arrows in there and see what happens. Maybe fluff and stuff is helping.
Maybe you have a couple drinks before you start playing Dota, and you need some little help with the shard accuracy. That's all. It's an option, Jeff.
There is someone in the chat named BDLM Rocks My Socks.
Oh.
So you have a fan.
Fact.
You have a fan. And I just want to say,
a gaggle of them.
There's a gaggle. I wasn't aware that you were geese, but apparently, or your fans are geese, I suppose. But that works for me. But yeah, I guess we're gonna just have to see what. At the end of the day, it's gonna be whatever our friends want to play. It's gonna be what I get for support. But if I get requests, I would definitely say my priority is Crystal Maid, and then from there, because I love her aura too. Like I said, Tusk is one of those heroes that's going to use his mana. No, at least 1 point. You don't have to max it, but I want that point. Just give me some base regen, please.
I don't know if I've played this Kai-style Maiden that you speak of, but maybe I can make something happen for that. I think this is a great hero too to work with some of your jungle support, because especially I'm thinking of like the Enigma, where you have Malefice that will help add some stun potential, but obviously those Eidolons are really freaking slow, and so it's nice if you're able to sort of like get the jump on somebody, get them wrapped in the ice shards to be able to apply the stun. If you have a Malefice coming in as well, and then you're able to add in some of the extra damage from the Eidolon because they have to navigate around your shards. I think that's some great potential. Really, there's just a bunch of stuff that you can do here, and really the only problem you might run into would be heroes that have escapes, and that's why I'm thinking, hey, why don't we go for Skywrath Mage, get a silence in there, get a nice little AoE slow with the conch shot. There's a lot of potential here, Jay, and I think it's going to be swell.
I'm hoping. God knows, I'm hoping. It's only 25. So what's your bet here?
I mean, for your win rate?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say my conservative bet was going to be 55. Let's go with 65. Let's take it to the house. I don't even know how many wins that is because, like I said earlier, I'm an art major. I don't know how to do math. I don't know how many games of 25 it would take to get a 65% win rate. But we'll do it. We'll make it work.
Okay. Hey, the more the merrier.
It's going to be good.
Let's keep it going, and let's hope I don't have too many fail punches and snowballs into towers. And well, that's what everyone's going to want to hear that though. So I'm sure it will happen, folks. Yeah. Don't you fret.
See if we can get a blooper reel together. Something. It'll be great. It'll be swell. But I think that's about it. I think it's going to be good. I'm stoked. Next week you're going to have an update for everybody, and it's going to be amazing. Any of you guys out there doing challenges, I know I've mentioned it before. I know we have fans out there doing the A to Z challenge. We have people playing a bunch of games as a single hero. keep us updated. We definitely want to hear about it. Drop by the youtube.com/DoD-on-demand. You can go to facebook.com/DoD-on-demand to get a hold of us. Or like Jay was saying earlier, you can add us on the Steam and talk to us directly. Maybe we can get some games in together. But do you have any closing thoughts, my friend?
No, I mean, that's pretty much something. We'll see how it goes, and happy 69 Day to everyone out there.
Yes, 'tis the season for giving and receiving. Remember that. Wise words from your friends over at DoD On Demand. See you guys next week.